I am Clara Dawson, a retired grandmother, living a life that may seem ordinary, yet holds the beauty of cherished memories. After a lifetime of diligent effort, I have gracefully gathered a modest pension. As my beloved daughter, Emily, embarked on her journey of marriage, my thoughts were consumed with the desire to offer her just a touch more support. Ultimately, I am a mother. Flesh and blood never turns a blind eye. Regardless of the challenges that may arise, witnessing your own child's struggles is a heartache that no parent can bear without deep reflection. Since the year they exchanged their vows, I began offering my financial support, a gesture that has continued with little pause. Emily and her husband reside in Boston, a city where every expense seems to carry a lavish price tag. Expenses such as rent, commuting, and bills, you can mention them all. Their earnings scarcely suffice to meet the essentials. Thus, I entered wherever I found the opportunity. With the arrival of the baby, Lucas, a new chapter unfolded, bringing with it the gentle necessities of formula, diapers, and the tender embrace of daycare. The expenses seemed to stretch on endlessly. I took the initiative without waiting for their invitation. I graciously proposed to provide them with $5,000 each month. Though it wasn't a grand sum, it was a gesture of support, sufficient to nourish Lucas and bring a touch of ease to their home life. Moments slipped away like whispers in the breeze. Before I realized it, Lucas had reached the age where he was ready to embark on his school journey. The $5,000 wire transfer had gracefully settled into the most familiar line item of my budget. My dear friends would occasionally jest, saying, "Clara, you are simply too wonderful a mother. Transferring funds each month in such a manner. Do you not find yourself concerned that Ryan may be becoming overly accustomed to the assistance provided?" I would simply chuckle, often echoing the same sentiment. What is the purpose of tallying the score? They are my beloved family. As long as they are thriving, my heart finds joy. Though some may label me as selfless, I have never perceived myself in that light. I simply acted in accordance with what I felt a mother should embrace. In reflection, perhaps I was simply caught in the sweet embrace of innocence. Perhaps in their gaze, I had become nothing more than a mere vessel of currency. The enchanting season of Christmas approached, with each passing day bringing a gentle chill to the air. Yet, a gentle warmth enveloped my heart. I had resolved my thoughts from the very beginning. This year, I had planned to spend the holidays at Emily's. I longed to be in their presence. I longed for us to become a family. 2 weeks prior to the holiday dinner, I began my preparations with great care. I selected a charming dinosaur sweater for Lucas, perfect for keeping him warm and snug. He was destined to adore it. For Emily, I have finally acquired the exquisite cashmere scarf she has been longing for these past months. Radiant and graceful, much like her essence. As for Ryan, he has a penchant for coffee, so I arranged for a friend in Oregon to send me some exquisite specialty roasted beans. I carefully packed a tin of my homemade cookies alongside a small bottle of my signature bourbon, crafted in the charming embrace of my old hometown. As I drew the zipper closed on the luggage, the 2 sizable bags seemed to overflow with their contents. As I packed, a gentle hum escaped my lips, and I found myself weaving vivid images in my mind. Our cherished family convened around the table, the turkey gently sizzling in the oven, Lucas eagerly unwrapping his gifts in the living room, Ryan sharing laughter with me, while Emily gracefully moved about the kitchen. The mere thought of it was sufficient to dissolve the winter's chill. The 3-bedroom townhouse had stood proudly since the year they exchanged their vows. In those days, they found themselves far from the down payment, prompting me to draw upon nearly all of my savings and even seek the generosity of my brother Thomas to assist them in acquiring the home. I recall the moment they received the keys. Emily enveloped me in her embrace, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Dearest mother, my heartfelt gratitude to you. From this moment forward, you shall find a place to call home here as well. You are welcome to come whenever your heart desires. Ah, that charming bedroom bathed in southern light? It shall forever belong to you." Ryan stood close beside her. Though his words were few, his gentle nod spoke volumes. "Emily is indeed correct, dear mother. You are always most welcome to visit." I cherished those words like a gentle flame, convinced that I had nurtured a wonderful daughter and found myself fortunate in a commendable son-in-law. Though I resided in my own quaint abode, each time I graced their home with my presence for a few days, I was met with unwavering politeness and warm hospitality. I never envisioned that the portrait I crafted in my mind, this soothing dream of mother-daughter intimacy, could dissolve so swiftly. 3 days prior to my departure, I found myself before the mirror, donning a new ensemble I had acquired specifically for the holiday. The soft chime of my phone broke the silence. It was, indeed, Emily. Mother. Her voice carried a hint of uncertainty, a stark contrast to her typically light and carefree melody. Emily, what troubles your heart? My heart felt a heavy weight. A subtle unease settled softly within. Oh, it's merely a trifle, she remarked with a touch of nonchalance. I was simply curious, have you had the chance to secure your ticket yet? She engaged in light conversation, her voice gliding gracefully as if she were delicately skimming the surface of unspoken thoughts. I could perceive it, the depth woven into her words, the delicate silence that lingered between each line. The warmth I had been savoring just moments ago began to fade. Like a delicate cloud ascending from my heart, casting a gentle shadow over the warmth of the sunlight I had nurtured within. Indeed, all is prepared. Anticipating the moment to step out into the world. What is unfolding in this moment? After a brief silence, she spoke softly, saying, Ryan wishes to have a word with you for a moment. I shall present him with the phone. Before I had the chance to reply, the call was gracefully passed on. Ryan's voice emerged with a gracefulness that was as courteous as ever, perhaps even a touch more tender than usual. Yet, beneath that serene tone, I could sense it. A chill, an intentional separation. Greetings, dear Clara. Greetings, Ryan. My fingers clasped the phone with a delicate intensity. Well, you see. He lingered for a moment, selecting his words with exquisite care. This Christmas may not be the most opportune moment for your visit. It struck me like a cascade of icy water, sharp and unyielding, leaving me drenched in its relentless embrace. My throat became parched. It required a fleeting moment for me to summon the courage to reply. What is it that you seek? What is this? Has something transpired? No, nothing serious, he replied, his tone airy as if he were merely chatting about the day's forecast. It is merely. This year, my parents will be visiting once again. As the years pass, they become more delicate in their slumber, gently entrenched in their familiar routines. Each of them requires their own sanctuary, and alas, with merely 3 bedrooms available, one for my father, another for my mother, and the last shared by Emily, Lucas, and myself, space is simply not abundant. The sound echoed in my ears. My thoughts danced, striving to keep pace. Do his parents each have a room of their own? What of me, I wonder? The mother who entrusted her life savings to assist with that down payment? The lady who has been sending over $5,000 each month with unwavering consistency? I uttered the first thought that came to my mind. I can rest upon the couch. Indeed. I have no objections. The holiday season has arrived. I would find contentment even with a simple blanket spread upon the floor. Hope lingered in my heart, a delicate whisper that refused to fade. Surely, they could not possess such a cold heart as to deny a grandmother on Christmas. Most certainly not. A moment lingered, stretching out for several seconds. Ryan was taken aback by my unexpected willingness to oblige. As he spoke once more, a hint of irritation lingered just beneath the surface of his carefully composed tone. Clara, you truly ought not to subject yourself to such trials. The house will be a delightful chaos, filled with the warmth of laughter and the gentle hum of conversation in the living room. It may not bring you the comfort you seek. Emily and I found ourselves quite burdened by the pressures of our work. We were rather looking forward to unwinding during the holidays. Let us indulge in a moment of intimacy. Intimate moments. Those words cut through the air like a chilling shard of ice. Is that truly the worth of my $5,000 a month? Is it fair to share in the common areas while leaving no space for the one contributing to the expenses? He continued, his voice airy, as though he were bestowing upon me a delightful gift. Perhaps you might consider remaining at home this year. Perhaps you might consider a visit to Thomas. His abode is nearby, and it exudes a vibrant charm that never fails to enchant. It appeared thoughtful at first glance. Yet beneath it all, it was merely a delicate way of expressing, "Please stay away. Your presence would merely be an obstacle." My heart sank slowly, each moment a delicate descent. Stunned, pained, and filled with incredulity. They all descended upon me simultaneously, stealing the very breath from my lungs. I struggled to calm my voice. Ryan graciously allowed me the opportunity to speak with Emily. I longed to hear it from her lips. A gentle rustle echoed from the other end. Ryan gracefully extending the phone. "Mother." Emily's voice floated like a gentle breeze, soft and quivering with emotion. His voice conveyed the impression that she was either weeping softly or valiantly holding back her tears. "Dearest mother, I kindly ask that you do not let sorrow touch your heart." Ryan's intentions were never ill, for his heart is gentle. It is simply that his parents, in their delicate state, require the utmost care and tranquility. "Perhaps you might simply." Her words danced delicately, intertwining and fading into a silence that spoke volumes beyond mere sentences. And in the distance, I discerned it distinctly, Ryan softly clearing his throat. A delicate whisper, yet undeniably clear. A gentle prompt. A gentle caution. She never uttered the words that elude her. Yet, she chose not to. The truth was unveiled with grace. She didn't even rise to my defense. Not even to suggest that I might claim the couch. She had chosen her path, and it did not lead to me. Very well. I comprehend fully. I succeeded in maintaining a serene tone, drawing upon every bit of strength within me to preserve my dignity. Then I gently ended the call. As the dial tone resonated softly in my ear, an enveloping silence embraced me, creating a profound stillness. And in an instant, the world turned frigid. I remained still on the couch, akin to a delicate marionette, its strings severed, leaving me in a state of quiet contemplation. My gaze fell upon the 2 suitcases in the corner, packed days ago, standing serenely beside the elegantly wrapped holiday gifts I had lovingly prepared for the family. Boxes adorned in vibrant reds and lush greens, ribbons elegantly curled with care. Yet now, those joyful packages appeared to taunt me. As if they were sharing a secret amusement at my expense. Ryan's voice lingered in my ears, a haunting melody that played on repeat. "My parents are arriving soon. Each of them deserves a space of their own. Every single one of them. Their private sanctuary." The words danced in my mind like a haunting melody, and I found myself unable to resist the tide of memories that swept over me. I recall the moment they exchanged vows, the 2 of them nestled together in a quaint rental, worn yet filled with the promise of love, old and drafty but brimming with life. During the winter, the walls became adorned with a delicate frost. During the summer, the ceiling fan danced with a gentle clatter, as if it might gracefully descend at any moment. It pained me to witness them existing in such a manner. Thus, I delved profoundly into the retirement savings I had devoted my entire life to nurturing. Yet, that was not sufficient, so I found myself seeking the kindness of friends and family, borrowing from their generosity. In a stroke of determination, I managed to gather the necessary funds for the down payment on that charming 3-bedroom townhouse. I devoted countless days to navigating the labyrinth of paperwork, my body weary and aching, yet my heart remained aglow with warmth. I believed I was assisting my daughter in creating a sanctuary of her own. Then arrived the enchanting journey of pregnancy. Emily's morning sickness was so severe that she found it impossible to hold on to any sustenance. I relocated to offer her my care and support. Prepared the dishes she could savor, strolled by her side during restless nights, and gently soothed her weary back with tender hands. With the arrival of Lucas, the nights transformed into a tapestry of sleeplessness. In the stillness of the night, as his cries echoed softly, it was I who wandered the living room, lost in a gentle rhythm of longing. Cradling him gently in my embrace, allowing the young couple a moment of respite. And throughout the passing years, without exception, my phone would softly vibrate at the dawn of each new month. A correspondence from the bank. $5,000 gracefully transferred into Emily's account. Not a single penny more, nor a single penny less. Even in times of hardship, when I was simplifying my own meals, I never let a month pass without fulfilling my commitments. I have poured forth all that I possessed, my resources, my moments, my very spirit, and not once did I utter a word of discontent. I have never sought anything in return. Is that not sufficient? Isn't that the essence of a mother's role? And now, what I receive in return is a delicately phrased farewell. Alas, the rooms are far too few. As though I were a trespasser in a cherished realm. As though everything I have offered could be dismissed with a mere courteous excuse and a closed door. The more I pondered, the more it felt amiss. The parents of Ryan. When did they unexpectedly become so delicate? When did they long for serene solitude in their own intimate chambers? It remains vividly etched in my memory. Last Thanksgiving, they wandered through the sun-kissed landscapes of Florida with a charming tour group, savoring delectable street food, basking on the warm sands, and flashing radiant smiles for countless photographs. Their social media radiated warmth with bright photos and light-hearted captions. They appeared vibrant, joyful, and far from weary. This excuse was not merely weak, it carried an air of insult. So delicate, in truth, that it scarcely endeavored to evoke any sense of credibility. It transcended the realm of mere logistics. The message was unmistakably clear. Your presence is not desired in this place. And then, like a serpent gracefully weaving through the fabric of my mind, a shadowy realization began to unfurl. What if we were to dream together, weaving our thoughts into a tapestry of possibilities? Did they truly never envision my arrival at all? As that thought settled within me, it stirred my soul like a stone cast into tranquil waters, sending gentle waves of emotion cascading through my heart. Regret. Wounded. Fury. A searing sense of betrayal wrapped around my ribs, constricting my breath with each passing moment. I simply could not allow this to pass unnoticed. I refused to be discarded like a forgotten trinket, dismissed with a hollow smile and a whisper of deceit. I yearned to uncover the truth. Every last bit of it. Sleep eluded me that night. Restlessly I turned, as the dawn's gentle light began to grace the sky. My eyes were adorned with shadows, my head pulsed like a distant drum, yet curiously, my thoughts had never been more vivid. As the first light of dawn graced the sky, I gently reached for my phone, my fingers gliding over the screen as I perused my contacts. I lingered at a name that seemed to dance just beyond my memory. Sophie Green, the cherished niece of Ryan. Our paths had crossed but once at a festive gathering, where we shared polite words and connected out of a sense of decorum. Our words have scarcely graced the air since that moment. With a moment's pause, I opened the message thread and composed my words with a light touch of nonchalance. Dearest Lily, might you have any insight into the plans Ryan's parents have for this Christmas season? I was pondering the idea that if they aren't attending Ryan's, perhaps I could extend an invitation for them to join us here. My thumb lingered above the send button for a fleeting moment, then gently pressed down. I remained still, clutching the phone, my palms glistening with a sheen of perspiration. Half an hour later, Sophie responded, blissfully unaware of the tempest she was about to set in motion. Greetings, dear Clara. What a delightful coincidence. My dear aunt and uncle have already crafted delightful plans to celebrate Christmas at Ryan's abode. The entire family is filled with joy at the thought of coming together. They have even arranged a delightful getaway to Hawaii following the holidays. My dear, a gentle whisper of surprise. It felt as though a brilliant firework had ignited within my mind. It didn't merely illuminate the sky, it consumed the final remnants of uncertainty that lingered within me. And so it is. Deceit. Every last bit of it. From the very beginning to the end, Ryan wove a tapestry of deceit before me. The insufficient rooms, the elderly parents in need of tranquility. Unadulterated imagination. The reality was clear, he simply wished for my absence. I was an inconvenience. A weight upon the heart. Something to be delicately handled, veiled, set apart. And I, in my folly, had graciously offered to rest upon the couch. I would have gladly accepted the humble floor if it meant being close to my beloved family. Yet, they would not grant me even the smallest refuge. Ryan, my dear. What a captivating performance. Bestow upon that man an Oscar and a resounding standing ovation. His delivery was nothing short of exquisite. It is unfortunate that his script did not meet expectations. A tempest of fury coursed through me, humiliation igniting my spirit like an uncontrollable blaze. I found myself taking a deep breath, striving to steady my trembling hands. Yet, I had no intention of remaining in silence. This time, I must decline. I reached for my phone once more and delicately dialed Emily's number. Let us leave uncertainty behind. The time for waiting has come to an end. I sought the answers I desired, and I was determined to uncover them. The phone rang, its persistent chime echoing through the silence, until at last, Ryan answered with a gentle grace. His tone was sharp and precise. Impatience coursed through him, and he no longer felt the need to feign indifference. Indeed. My dearest Clara. What shall we do now? I stifled the blaze within me, my words emerging with a crisp, icy elegance. Ryan, let us dispense with the trivialities. Share with me the truth, if you will. Is it truly necessary for your parents to have a room of their own for health considerations? Or are you all simply planning a delightful escape to Hawaii after Christmas? A moment of silence lingered in the air. Then his voice returned, laced with anger and tension. Oh, dear Clara. Who has been whispering sweet nothings into your ear? Pray, who was it that shared such news with you? He offered no denial. He was simply overwhelmed by the uncertainty of the leak's location. And that was the only response I sought. It is of no consequence how I came to learn of it. I spoke with a voice as steady as a finely honed blade. Kindly provide me with your response. Indeed or not? He fell silent once more. Yet this time, he chose not to conceal it. And then the mask was gently removed. His voice fell softly, laced with a hint of indifference, as if wrapped in a veil of disdain. What if it is indeed true? Christmas is a cherished time for our family. My parents seldom grace the town with their presence. Must your presence truly weave such complexity into our tapestry? My dear Clara, don't you believe you might be just a touch extravagant? That word fell upon me with the force of an unexpected blow. My hands were tightly clenched, a gentle tremor coursing through me. Breath suspended in a delicate balance of fury and sorrow. Additional. I uttered again, my voice trembling with incredulity. Ryan, I played a significant role in nurturing your child. I provided the funds so you could acquire that lovely home. Each month, I graciously transfer $5,000 to you. And I find myself as the delightful addition. Clara, please do not misinterpret my words. He snapped, his demeanor now tinged with a palpable hostility. Emily is my beloved wife. We have created our own cherished family now. It would be wise for you to refrain from involving yourself in matters that do not concern you. Cease to impose my presence. My thoughts cascaded in a whirlwind of fervor. Thus, this was what I had become to him, a gentle intrusion into his world. Shall we discuss my monthly transfer of $5,000? Merely the cost of enduring the experience. And even then, I had lingered beyond the bounds of my invitation. Was this some peculiar arrangement where I was compelled to pay them for the mere privilege of my presence? Must I forever strive to secure my position through wealth and quietude, ensuring that I never disturbed the true essence of family? In an instant, I beheld the world with exquisite clarity. The tempest surged within me, striking like a sudden flash of lightning. Years of concealed pride, of unvoiced pain, of bending over backwards for the sake of harmony. All of it burst forth with the intensity of a volcano. Ryan, do you not feel a whisper of shame within your heart? My voice quivered, yet it surged with a passion I had not experienced in many years. May I inquire who graciously provided the down payment for the lovely home in which you reside so comfortably? Who, in your time of need, selflessly drew from her retirement savings and sought assistance, all to lend you a helping hand? In those tender moments when Emily found herself pregnant, unwell, and weary, who stood by her side each day? Preparing meals, escorting her to her appointments, gently soothing her back as she endures the waves of nausea. In those tender moments when Lucas was but a newborn, wailing through the night, it was you who cradled him in your arms, gently pacing in circles for hours, allowing both of you to find solace in sleep. Do you suggest that I intrude? Had I not intervened, you would not possess any of this. In that moment, silence enveloped us, only to be pierced by a soft, bitter laugh that echoed through the line, striking me with the chill of a winter's breath. Clara, he uttered, his voice laced with a chilling disdain. What is the purpose of unearthing the past? Your generosity was a choice made from the heart. No one compelled you against your will. It was never our desire. If you chose to give, then please refrain from returning now as if we are indebted to you in any way. He remained utterly composed. He continued unabated, his voice ascending with a fervor that suggested he was the one aggrieved. And all that money you graciously send to Emily each month? The decision rests in your hands. If you wish to support your daughter, do so with all your heart. However, do not presume that such actions grant you a place at our table. That is not the way it unfolds. Do not attempt to wield wealth as a means to sway us. He lingered for a moment longer, then unleashed his final remark as if it were the most sensible thing imaginable. My parents devoted their lives to nurturing and guiding me with unwavering dedication. At the very least, I shall ensure their comfort during their visit. It is the essence of being a devoted son, dear Clara. It is my duty. By choice. Not connected. The obligation of a son. Do take a moment to listen to that. Observe the charming clarity with which he has crafted his words. Each sacrifice I embraced, every dollar I offered, every restless night spent, distilled into nothing more than a matter of personal choice. Polished to a sheen of emptiness, gently swept away like a whisper of dust upon a fine garment. My support, my presence, was never sought after. Always uninvited. It was once merely endured, and now it has faded into nothingness. He considers it a beautiful duty to care for his parents. Yet, the lady who crafted the very foundation of his existence? She feels like a weight upon my heart. An unwelcome disturbance. In search of. The hypocrisy was truly astonishing. The entitlement, utterly dazzling. I found myself trembling. Trembling gently. Not for want of words, but rather from the profound burden of humiliation. His indifference brushed against my skin like a myriad of delicate whispers, leaving in its wake a lingering ache. And in that dreadful, suffocating silence, it finally dawned upon me. Engaging in a dispute seemed utterly futile. Individuals like Ryan remain steadfast, impervious to pleas or rational discourse. They remain oblivious to my words. They remain unreflective. They embrace. And then they whisper that it was your decision to offer. He had yet to express his gratitude, not even a single time. For in his thoughts, I had offered him nothing deserving of appreciation. I merely fulfilled my obligations. And now that he no longer required my presence, I found myself tucked away like a receipt from a cherished memory, now faded into the background. I took a deep breath, striving to hold back the tears. Engaging in a dispute with him would yield no tranquility for my heart. If anything, it would merely diminish the remnants of the dignity I still clung to. The true inquiry lay not with Ryan. It had never been. The inquiry pertained to Emily. My beloved daughter. What were her beliefs? In what position did she find herself amidst it all? And why, in my hour of greatest need, did she choose to remain silent? After ending my call with Ryan, I found myself gazing at Emily's name on my screen, lost in thought for what felt like an eternity. My finger lingered, quivering ever so gently, before it finally descended to open a new message. I inhaled deeply, striving to maintain a serene tone. Calm and composed, even as my heart lay in fragments within. I never wished to be the one to unravel the delicate thread of the mother-daughter bond that still lingered between us. My dear Emily, I have just had a conversation with Ryan. My heart aches profoundly. I understand that life has presented its challenges for both of you, and it has never been my intention to add to your burdens. Yet, what eludes my comprehension is why no one could simply reveal the truth to me. I assure you, I am quite reasonable. I long for your sincerity, just this once. I long to understand, what do I signify to you? What do I truly mean to you? I pressed send. In that moment, I found myself in a state of anticipation. The house was enveloped in a haunting silence. In the stillness, the gentle ticking of the wall clock resonated, each soft breath I drew echoing in the serene air. My heart beat fervently, echoing in my ears. Time lingered, each moment stretching into the next with a gentle, unhurried grace. The screen remained shrouded in darkness. As time stretched on, I found myself nearly swayed into believing she would never reply. At last, my phone vibrated softly. Emily had responded. Merely a handful of lines. Yet they sliced through me like a weary blade, laboring slowly across my heart, inch by inch, stripping away the final remnants of hope I clung to. Dearest mother, I kindly ask that you refrain from feeling disheartened. Ryan may have been a touch direct, I understand, yet his intentions were never to cause you pain. He is simply endeavoring to bring a touch of ease to his parents' lives. They seldom have the chance to pay a visit. The past few days have been quite challenging. The mortgage, the car payments, and Lucas's schooling, they all seem to be accumulating, creating a weight upon my heart. The weight of expectations is quite substantial. Kindly refrain from complicating this for me. Simply remain at home and savor the holiday, my dear, if you please. I shall pay you a visit after the new year, I assure you. The same well-known cadence. The same elusive melancholy. She neither denied the occurrence nor fully embraced it. Regrettably, dear mother, I must decline. Indeed, that was not something you warranted. Only a gentle remorse cloaked in tender justifications. A gentle endeavor to mend the surface, all the while leaving the deeper scars unaddressed. She did not rise to my defense. She chose not to stand by my side. She seemed oblivious to the depths of my pain. Instead, she placed herself at the center, ensnared by loyalties burdened with pressure, as though she were the one wronged and I was the source of her struggles. Yet, she overlooked a precious detail. The one who was pushed aside, the one deceived, the one left in the chill with a heart brimming with love and 2 suitcases filled with treasures, was I. Her beloved mother. The lady who had gracefully guided her through every trial. I gazed at the screen, my fingers gently wrapping around the phone as a chill, profound stillness enveloped my heart. It felt as though a long-buried part of my soul had finally shattered. Softly yet entirely. That will suffice. My trust in her had waned, leaving me adrift. I found myself yearning for even the simplest gesture of defense, a whisper of fairness, a glimmer of courage. She resembled a delicate doll crafted from cotton, gentle and yielding, swaying gracefully with the breeze. Ryan spoke, and she complied with grace. Ryan made his choice, and she gracefully accompanied him. She found herself unable to summon the resolve to claim a spot on the couch for her mother. I had invested my entire being into her. Yet, I received no response in return. Only a void remains. This must be what they refer to when they speak of a sorrow deeper than the loss of hope itself. For this moment, this was everything. Silently, I silenced my phone and glided towards the window. The sky outside draped itself in a soft, muted gray, casting a gentle veil over the world. The wind danced through the skeletal branches, sending delicate leaves twirling gracefully through the air. They floated down gracefully, settling upon the porch sill and, in a curious twist of fate, landing directly on my heart, cold and weightless, yet burdened with an undeniable heaviness. As you wish. This Christmas, I shall remain right here, cherishing the warmth of the season. I would remain in this serene, timeless abode. In solitude. Perhaps that was simply perfect. In that very moment, I resolved to take a step forward. This month's transfer of $5,000? I did not intend to send it. Not from a place of malice. Not from a place of vengeance. Yet, at last, I came to a profound understanding. It seems there is truly no purpose. I had bestowed upon them my all. My dearest. My endeavor. The funds that belonged to me. The moments that belonged to me. In return, I received only deceit, apathy, and a gaze that conveyed I was merely a weight upon their heart. What, pray tell, was I still investing in? I chose not to reach out to them. I offered no forewarning. I remained silent. As the familiar bank notification graced my screen, announcing that your monthly transfer was scheduled, I remained utterly still, untouched by the moment. I gently brushed it aside. Let there be no drama. There is no room for anger. Only a soft, hollow silence that resonated within my very bones. A weary, profound sadness that reached deep within. Had our love truly reached this poignant moment? Had it withered into a solitary monthly exchange? For all those years, I held the belief that discussing finances could tarnish the beauty of relationships. At last, the truth reveals itself to me. At times, the absence of discussions about finances may reveal that the bond was never genuine from the start. And that is perfectly acceptable. May this 5,000 serve as the ultimate trial. Let us discover what truly holds significance for them. Their beloved mother. Or her wealth. With each passing day, the enchantment of Christmas approached ever nearer. The neighbors began adorning their doors with holly wreaths, a charming touch of festive elegance. Delicate white string lights twinkling gently beneath the eaves. The air was infused with the warm scent of cinnamon and baked apples, harmonizing beautifully with the lively chatter of people carrying home their turkeys and bottles of wine. The entire neighborhood seemed enveloped in a gentle warmth, reminiscent of a beautifully crafted postcard capturing the essence of the holidays. Yet within me lingered only a profound void. Like an ancient wooden abode, hollowed and embraced by the chill of the wind. It had been some time since I last connected with Emily following the conversation with Ryan. Alas, neither of them has reached out to me as well. It felt as though that entire conversation, the deceptions, the heartache, had been delicately tucked away, concealed beneath the shimmering allure of festive joy. Then arrived the 5th day after what had once been the cherished moment of my routine transfer. Then, the gentle chime of my phone broke the silence. Emily, my dear. Her name illuminated the screen, akin to a gentle knock at a door I hesitated to open. For a fleeting moment, I found myself gazing at it, a weighty sensation settling deep within my chest. Yet, I responded. Greetings, dear mother. Her voice was gentle, almost dancing on the edge of silence, imbued with a sweetness that seemed artfully crafted. How have you been faring lately? The air has turned crisper of late. Please ensure you are wrapping yourself warmly, my dear. I am well, thank you. My response was serene, somewhat detached. There is a distinct absence of warmth. There is no room for anger. Merely lacking depth. That's lovely, she remarked, yet a moment of hesitation lingered, as if she were savoring the words before continuing. Ah, it is indeed Christmas today. Do you have any delightful plans in mind? Perhaps I could visit, and we could share a delightful dinner together. A soft chuckle escaped my thoughts, lingering gently in the silence. Now she was curious about how I would be spending the holiday. Where has this vibrant energy been all these weeks? There is no necessity, I replied with a gentle grace. I shall be dining at Thomas's this evening. A gentle untruth. A truth that graciously shielded us from the discomfort it might have brought. She paused for a moment, then gracefully transitioned into light conversation, inquiring if I had discovered any new passions recently, whether the charming coffee shop below was still welcoming patrons, and if the grand oak at the corner had released all its leaves yet. Waltzing in a gentle embrace. Anticipating. Waiting with grace. I was fully aware of what this entailed. She had not come for the coffee or the trees. She lingered, anticipating the perfect moment to unfold. And then, as if guided by an unseen hand, her tone transformed gracefully. delicate and effortless, as if it were merely a fleeting moment. "Ah, by the way. Dearest mother, might it be that you overlooked sending this month's allowance?" There existed. I had been eagerly anticipating that line. I lingered for a moment, allowing the silence to unfold gracefully around us. Then, as if a forgotten thought had just danced back into my mind, I replied, "Oh, you mean that money?" "Indeed," she replied swiftly, her voice illuminating, filled with relief. I savored each moment. "Allow the silence to linger just a moment more. I have not forgotten." The silence on her side was immediate. Calm and precise. I could nearly perceive the stillness of her expression. I proceeded with a deliberate grace, each word a delicate fragment of frost. "As I ponder the upcoming holidays, it occurs to me that you may be facing quite a few expenses. With your in-laws nearby, I trust they are lending a hand as well. It seems that my 5,000 may not be necessary for you after all." I allowed that to settle within me, then infused my voice with a chill, purposeful and measured. "Indeed, you are correct, I find myself merely an outsider now. Perpetually intruding upon your cherished little family. It seems rather off, doesn't it? Thus, I have come to a decision. Regrettably, I can no longer contribute financially. I have reached my conclusion." Stillness. A silence so profound that I could sense its very breath. Her visage was etched in my mind, a portrait I needed no sight to behold. In a state of astonishment, one finds themselves in a flurry, grappling with a disbelief that strikes deeply when a line, once thought to be eternal, unexpectedly fades away. There is a certain charm in the act of forgetting. It spreads like a gentle whisper in the night. They have forgotten all that I offered. My assistance, my resources, my affection. Alas, I seem to have overlooked the payment. Not driven by vengeance. This was not an act of vengeance. This marked my journey towards understanding how to navigate their complexities. The manner in which they imparted their wisdom to me. After an extended silence, Emily's voice emerged at last, delicate and quivering, imbued with a blend of sorrow and reproach. "Mother, how could you possibly have done this? How could you so abruptly halt the transfer like that?" Her voice soared, ascending to a delicate yet urgent pitch, tinged with a hint of desperation. "Are you aware of the challenges that await us this month? The mortgage, Lucas's tuition, and all the other expenses that weave through our lives. We find ourselves submerged. And now, you have abruptly severed our connection? How shall we navigate this challenge?" And just like that, the final ember of tenderness I held for her, once flickering and delicate, extinguished into the chill of indifference. She recalled the mortgage. She recalled the expenditures. She recalled the challenges that once weighed heavily upon her heart. Yet, she let it slip from her mind. She has lost sight of the one who devoted a lifetime of retirement savings to help them secure that cherished home. She lost sight of the one who wandered through the shadows, cradling a wailing infant, all for the sake of peaceful slumber. She overlooked the $5,000 I graciously sent each month, as reliable as the changing seasons, come rain or shine. They recalled every detail, save for my presence. And in that moment, I beheld it with perfect clarity. Some relationships do not conclude with a single tempest. They remain unbroken, even in the midst of a heated disagreement. They decay gently, fragment by fragment, through indifference, through stillness, through the subtle cruelty of being distanced time and time again. I remained unchanged. They released me from their grasp long ago. Before I had the chance to reply, another voice surged forth from the other end, Ryan's, resonating with a fervor that was both loud and seething with anger. "Clara, what on earth does this signify?" He was raising his voice now, utterly unrestrained. "Are you attempting to sway us with your wealth? Is that your intention? Emily is my beloved wife, and you are meant to assist her. It seems you have chosen to sever our connection. How can I share my burdens with her?" And thus, it came to be. Ryan's gradual unraveling. The very man who recently urged me to cease my meddling now finds himself shouting into the phone, distressed by the sudden halt of the checks. Amusing. That independence he so proudly proclaimed certainly faded swiftly in the absence of my support. I cradled the phone gently, allowing a soft, bittersweet laugh to escape my lips. "Entice you?" I responded, my voice smooth and composed. "In what manner do you perceive my influence over you? I offered you that money out of my own desire. And now, I find myself without it. Isn't that the liberation you've always yearned for?" I took a moment to let the words linger, then continued, smooth as glass and sharp as ice. "Moreover, you truly are a wonderful son to your parents, aren't you? As they grace your home for the holidays, I have no doubt they would be delighted to assist with the bills. After all, you continue to express that this is where your heart resides now. I would not wish to impose upon those who are not part of this world any longer." Stillness. And then Ryan succumbed to his emotions entirely. "You are Clara Dawson. Do not presume to portray yourself as a martyr, my dear. The down payment you entrusted to us? My parents graciously covered the costs of the renovations. Do you truly believe yourself to be a savior of sorts?" His words flowed swiftly, laced with bitterness, each one more ungracious than the last. "Your desire was merely to exert control over us. And now you're withdrawing your presence, leaving us to yearn for your return. Well, my dear, do you know what? It seems that this is not destined to unfold. Your unclean wealth holds no allure for us. Do you hear my voice, dear?" He was now raising his voice, no longer holding the reins of his emotions, unleashing a torrent of anger and harsh words that pierced through the air like arrows. "Should you ponder? That is quite enough, Ryan. I kindly ask you to cease." Emily's voice interjected, trembling with emotion, as she endeavored to soothe him, yet her efforts proved in vain. He was lost in a tempest of emotions, descending further into his outburst, entirely unaware of the harm he was causing. I remained silent. I chose not to end the call. I have just indulged in the sweet sound of your words. I listened, as though peering through a delicate fissure in the wall, witnessing the intricate tapestry of a stranger's life unfold before me. His words were harsh and cutting, akin to sharp blades. Yet, curiously, they ceased to pierce any longer. For I was unable to sense their presence. I found myself enveloped in a profound stillness. Not for the absence of hurt, but for the way the pain had sapped me of every feeling. I found myself adrift, observing from afar as a melancholic and absurd tableau unfolded before my eyes. A man's voice rises in fervor over the phone, while a woman's quiet sobs echo softly in the background, accompanied by the presence of an elderly lady. I have come to understand that not all conclusions are forged in flames and chaos. They are woven from silence and clarity, with a door that gently closes behind you. As Ryan's fury intensified, the world around him sharpened into focus. His relentless stream of insults, harsh and unrefined, resembled a tarnished, blunt blade. And yet, in a most unexpected manner, they severed the final bond to which I had been so desperately holding on. The last glimmer of hope I held for this family, for Emily, for the enchanting dream of an unwavering, sacred mother-daughter connection. For an eternity, I had harbored a fear of confrontation. Fearful of those uncomfortable pauses. Worried that expressing too much might jeopardize the bond we share. Yet now, having been pulled face first through the earth by those I once would have traversed flames for, a revelation dawned upon me. When the facade crumbles, the air becomes lighter, and breathing feels like a gentle embrace. At least I was freed from the need to continue playing my part in that elaborate charade. Feigning the image of a devoted, appreciative family. That I was the tender matriarch and they were the devoted offspring. Ryan's voice gradually began to wane. The fervent shouting had rendered him breathless. The sole sound lingering in the air was his deep, tumultuous breathing, filled with intensity. I paused for a fleeting moment before allowing my words to escape. Serene, unwavering, and crisp like the tranquil surface of a moonlit lake. You have completed it. Stillness. As if he were taken aback by the melody of my voice. Serene. I released a gentle sigh, not from weariness, but from a sense of completion. Ryan, you shared a thought with me earlier. You mentioned that you and Emily have formed your own independent little family, and that I should refrain from interfering. So exquisite. I hold that in high regard. From this moment forward, I shall refrain from any further interference. I lingered for a moment. Allow it to settle gently. As you believe I have wielded money as a means of influence over you, allow me to clarify my intentions with utmost simplicity. There shall be no more funds. I shall not part with even a single cent. Let there be clarity, free from conditions. From this moment onward, I shall gracefully take my leave from your lives. Completely. I did not raise my voice. I held back my tears. I did not waver in the slightest. Perhaps that is the reason the words pierce more profoundly, for they were not uttered in wrath. They emerged from a realm of greater chill and formidable strength. In conclusion, I have added one final touch. My voice remains as steady as ever. Fear not. I shall not reach out to you again. I shall refrain from intruding upon your cherished family once more. At last, Emily's voice emerged, laced with a tremor of panic and uncertainty. Dearest mother, I kindly ask you to refrain from saying that. Ryan's intentions were not ill, he is merely experiencing a moment of distress. His words held no sincerity. I released a gentle, melancholic laugh. My dearest, his intentions hold no significance for me. What holds significance is the essence of his words. And, most significantly, you listened to every word, allowing him to continue unimpeded. She stood still, caught in a moment of stillness. I could perceive it. The guilt surged within her, a heavy weight in her throat. I simply. Her voice trembled, delicate and heart-wrenching. Dearest mother, the journey has been quite challenging. My dear Emily, I understand how difficult this is, I spoke softly. Yet, it is a challenge for me as well. You've been so preoccupied with your own sorrow, caught in a delicate limbo. Have you ever paused to consider the profound solitude that envelopes one during Christmas? In a serene abode, two untouched suitcases rest quietly, awaiting the return of a loved one who may never arrive. Your understanding has always been profound. You simply never rose to the occasion. Never did you utter the words, Mom, I wish you would remain. Once more, silence envelopes the space. The kind that speaks volumes without uttering a word. I cast my gaze out the window. The sky had deepened into a rich, velvety darkness. At the corner, several houses began to illuminate their windows, casting a warm glow into the evening air. Delicate, warm glimmers danced softly against the winter twilight. The glass mirrored my visage, returning my gaze with a delicate grace. Serene, uncharted, alert. Very well, I finally replied, my voice soft yet resolute. Wishing you a delightful holiday filled with joy. Please refrain from calling again. I am well, thank you. Indeed. There is no need for you to concern yourself with my well-being. And with that, I gently ended the call. I gently powered down the phone, placing it delicately face down upon the table. And for the first time in an eternity, a profound sense of tranquility enveloped me. The days that ensued were serene. Outside, the world twirled gracefully toward the enchantment of Christmas. Neighbors adorned their porches with shimmering lights, casting a gentle glow that danced in the evening air. Joyful laughter danced through the air as children glided gracefully over snowy sidewalks on their skateboards. And front doors blossomed with holly wreaths, adorned with golden stars and vibrant red ribbons. Yet my home remained unchanged. I chose not to adorn my door with a wreath. I chose not to adorn the space with lights. Instead, I delicately inscribed 3 simple words upon the welcome mat by the door. Allow the snow to gracefully descend. That week, 2 gentle knocks graced my door. The initial message came from Margaret, the graceful elderly lady residing across the hall. She arrived with a tin of her exquisite homemade spice cookies, her familiar warmth enveloping us, transcending the wood that separated us. She spoke animatedly through the door about her daughter arriving from afar, her grandson accompanying her, and the entire family coming together by the fireplace to share in the joy of singing cherished carols. I stood in silence, gently resting against the doorframe, as her footsteps gracefully receded down the hallway, never daring to part the threshold. It wasn't that I lacked the desire to behold her. It was beyond my capacity to feign a smile, to engage in trivial conversation. As the evening unfolded, I gently opened the storage closet, embarking on a journey through boxes that had remained untouched for years. Within lay the cherished remnants I had preserved, yet endeavored to keep from my thoughts. The wedding invitation of Emily, delicately preserved within its elegant envelope. A card adorned with Lucas's finger-painted artistry, delicately embellished with shimmering glitter. And a cherished teddy bear, its fur lovingly worn away. I knelt there, gently sifting through it all. As my fingers delicately grazed the surface of a photograph, time seemed to stand still. It was a cherished family portrait, captured 6 winters past in the warmth of their living room. Lucas had just entered the world. Adorned in an apron, my hair hastily gathered, my cheeks glowed with the warmth of the kitchen's embrace. I cradled him gently, his slumbering form nestled in my embrace, his cheeks flushed with warmth and a sense of security. In that moment, I believed I had discovered true happiness. This kitchen, the lively sounds, this cherished family felt like the beautiful future I had lovingly crafted. I chose to keep the photo close to my heart. I gently returned it to the depths of the box and softly closed the lid. Not forgotten, merely embraced in silence. As the days gracefully unfolded. There has been no call from Emily. I sensed that she was patiently anticipating my surrender. Yet, I did not. Not for a lack of affection. Yet, it was in that moment of clarity that I truly grasped the essence. To care is not to yield. For years, I have borne the weight of their world upon my shoulders. I assisted in the creation of their cherished family, only to be informed that I was not meant to be a part of it. Bestowed upon them my resources, my moments, my respect, yet all they perceived was an intruder in their lives. Very well, allow them to experience the essence of life in the absence of the one they deemed so troublesome. I had caught whispers of the unfolding events through the delicate threads of conversation. Ryan's temper had forever danced on the edge of volatility. He had already traversed through 3 positions in recent years, each concluding with him attributing the outcome to company politics rather than embracing any sense of responsibility. He urged Emily to remain at home, assuring her that he could take care of everything. Yet, the truth unfolded in a manner quite contrary. Their mortgage had slipped into arrears. 2 months overdue, they parted with the car, opting for a cumbersome older model adorned with a cracked dashboard. As Ryan forcefully closed the door, the reverberation echoed through the building, prompting the neighbors to mistakenly believe they had witnessed a scene of domestic turmoil, leading them to summon the authorities. As I cradled a coffee mug in my hands, this revelation came to light. The delicate rim of the cup met the counter with a soft clink, leaving behind a small, graceful chip. I remained poised, my gaze fixed upon it. With a gentle touch, I gathered the shattered fragment and let it fall into the embrace of the trash. Perhaps a touch of pain is all that is required, I whispered softly. That week, I began the delicate process of rebuilding. Gently, with a sense of purpose. Awake at the break of dawn. An immaculate kitchen. A single mug of rich black coffee accompanied by a slice of golden toast. Next, I would pen down 3 delightful tasks to embrace the day ahead. Please attend to the laundry. Restore the cherished quilt that graces the hall. Delight in the creation of a new recipe for pear and clove shortbread. I have responded to Nina's email. She inquired whether I would be inclined to offer a sewing class at the community center. Once every week. I would be delighted to assist, I penned. When we conversed over the phone, her voice was filled with delight. Your words hold immense significance, Clara. It seems that the desire to learn flourishes within many hearts, yet the willingness to impart knowledge has waned in recent times. A gentle smile graced my lips. It is the realm in which I find my greatest familiarity. If it brings joy or assistance to another, I would be delighted to share it. Oh, how we long for you, she whispered. You cannot fathom the depth of it. And in some way, that stirred something within me, something subtle yet undeniably genuine. It rekindled the warmth within me that I believed had long since turned to ice. Perhaps I was not as insignificant as I once believed. Perhaps my presence was essential. Simply not by them. On that enchanting night, I retrieved the delicate scarf that Emily had forgotten at my home. One I had lovingly crafted for her 2 winters past, stitch by delicate stitch. The yarn had lost its luster over time, its edges gently fraying and loosening with each passing moment. As I nestled on the couch, a crochet hook delicately poised between my fingers, I took my time to weave together the threads of my creation. As my fingers danced, so too did my thoughts wander. Softly, without intention. Was she wrapped in warmth's embrace? Did Lucas possess an ample wardrobe to adorn himself? Did Ryan still harbor any anger? Though weeks had passed without me sending any money, it certainly did not signify a waning of my affection. I have finally ceased to associate care with duty. I was discovering at last that love need not demand the sacrifice of one's own essence. I arranged the guest room with care, draping fresh flannel sheets over the bed and gently laying out the electric blanket, inviting warmth and comfort. I placed a delicate box of strawberry cookies, her cherished delight, upon the nightstand. Not that I was yearning for her return, but rather that if ever the burden of it all became overwhelming, if she found herself without a refuge, I wished for her to be aware. A gentle glow lingered in this space. Not for frailty, but for tranquility. Neither did I extend my hand, nor did she seek my voice. For nearly a month, we existed in a hush, wrapped in the quietude of our shared moments. There are no missed calls. There were no gentle raps upon the door. I began to feel that this was the moment I had been waiting for. The conclusion has arrived. That our connection had splintered too profoundly to be mended. The bond between mother and daughter, once shattered like cherished heirlooms, could not be mended. Yet, on a certain Friday evening, an unforeseen event unfolded. As I stepped inside from the balcony, my arms laden with freshly dried laundry, the doorbell chimed softly, breaking the tranquil moment. Of utmost importance. With my hands now dry, I gracefully made my way to the door. Gazed through the peephole. She stood there, a vision of grace. A well-loved canvas bag cradled in one hand. A vintage puffer jacket fastened snugly to the chin. Her visage was ashen, her eyes deep and vacant, as if she had lingered there for an eternity, summoning the bravery to press the bell. We gazed at one another through the door, suspended in a moment that felt like eternity. Then her lips parted, with a gentle hesitation, tender and soft. "Mother? May I enter your presence?" I gently opened the door. She lingered just beyond the threshold, resembling a wistful child rather than a woman with a family of her own. I gracefully stepped aside. "There is no welcome here. May I offer you a delightful beverage?" She entered with a graceful slowness, her coat still draped elegantly over her shoulders. Her eyes, delicately rimmed in crimson, held a weariness that seemed to envelop her, a shadow of a burden not previously seen. "Mother?" Her voice, a delicate whisper, quivered with an unspoken emotion that eluded her grasp. I'm afraid I can no longer continue. I believed I could. Alas, I find myself unable to do so. She held back her tears. She lingered in silence, her head gently lowered, fingers delicately tracing the strap of her bag as if searching for words hidden deep within her heart. Within the confines of her home, she gracefully swallowed. "Ryan has parted ways with his employment. This time, I truly mean it. There shall be no severance. The credit cards have reached their limits. Once more, the mortgage has slipped into overdue territory, and regrettably, we find ourselves unable to meet this obligation." I remained silent. Not a breath taken. No surprise. I had anticipated this long before she ever did. On that day, he chose not to answer the phone. "I sensed that you had truly moved on from us." Her voice descended to a whisper, soft and enchanting. Following that, I attempted to call once more, yet I found myself unable to do so. I found myself unable to confront it. Absolutely not. I find myself at a loss, unsure of whom else to confide in. She cleared her throat, a sound sharp and delicate, reminiscent of glass being swallowed. I come not to seek your wealth. I sense that you may be weary of my presence. I find myself at a loss for where to turn next. I found myself uncertain of whom else might lend an ear. I took my time to reply. Instead, I gracefully settled onto the sofa, gently placing the half-mended yarn into its basket. Gazed upon her with a silence molded by the passage of time and the weight of sorrow. Then softly, my dear, if you have something on your mind, please take a seat beside me. We possess an abundance of time. She lingered in uncertainty. Then she glided over and settled at the far edge of the couch, reminiscent of a defendant poised in anticipation of a verdict. She appeared so delicate. In a state of uncertainty. So distant from the girl I once embraced in my arms. Yet, she was present. And for the moment, that sufficed. The house was enveloped in a serene hush, allowing me to hear the gentle whisper of her fingernail gliding over the fabric of the couch. Then, in a voice that danced softly through the air, she murmured, "Mom, I have divorced Ryan. When shall we meet?" I inquired. "Just last week." She lingered in uncertainty. With a swift motion, he cast the plate aside, watching it shatter gracefully upon the floor. He remarked, "You and your mother, both of you are quite lacking in value." Then he placed a divorce agreement on the table with a decisive gesture. She inhaled deeply, her breath trembling, and then pressed on. "Truthfully, it all began the moment you ceased your generous support." He descended into a whirlwind of emotions. "You claim to have turned your back on us. The sole contribution from your family to our union was merely a down payment. All other matters, the renovations, were graciously provided by his parents. As if that elevated them to the status of saints." Her voice trembled, laced with a poignant edge that cut through the air. "Yet, I hold those memories close, dear mother. I recall the gentle grip that accompanied me through each doctor's visit, the presence that stood by my side as I welcomed new life into the world. Who are you? You were the one who wandered the floors throughout the night with Lucas. You were the one who prepared meals, tended to the household, and supported me when I could hardly find my footing." She hesitated, and when she finally spoke, her voice quivered softly. "I was already aware of all that. I found myself trembling at the thought of disturbing the delicate balance. I believed that by remaining silent, by sidestepping the conflict, perhaps our union would endure." I inclined my head in agreement. She delicately brushed her nose with the cuff of her sleeve and murmured, "Ryan has begun to spend his nights away." Fury grew within me with each passing day. On the night when Lucas was gripped by a fever, I found myself reaching out to him, pleading for his assistance. "Do you recall what he mentioned? Your child, your responsibility." She cast her gaze downward, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears once more. The weight of it all became too much to bear. "I truly made every effort, dear mother." "I certainly did." And then the tears began to flow. Neither gentle nor hushed, but rather sharp and unrefined. Regret, trepidation, and remorse intertwine, cascading upon me in a tumultuous embrace. "Mother, I beg your forgiveness," she murmured softly. "I chose not to stand up for you. Not a single word escaped my lips. And I realize now that you were never truly upset with me. You have endured pain. I'm a mother now, as well," she added, her voice rich with emotion. At last, I comprehended fully. I hesitated to respond immediately. I simply sat there, captivated as she gracefully unraveled before my eyes. With a graceful rise, I made my way into the kitchen. Upon my return, I presented her with a glass of water. "Here," I whispered softly. "Savor a sip. Allow yourself to inhale deeply." She accepted it, her hands quivering delicately as the glass met her lips. With a gentle sigh, I reassured her, settling back into my seat. Fatigue had settled upon me. Exhausted in a manner that eludes my ability to articulate. She gazed up at me, her eyes brimming with remorse, tears cascading down her cheeks. "You once told me, Mom is your safety net," I murmured gently. Yet, at some point in this journey, that safety net transformed from a source of solace into a mere instrument of profit. No one inquired about my well-being. They inquired whether I was still in the act of giving. Every word was softly spoken yet intentional. And it gracefully descended. "This evening, I welcomed you in, for you are my beloved daughter. That remains unchanged. Never shall it be." She nodded with determination, gently brushing away the tears from her cheeks. "Yet the pain you inflicted upon me is not a wound that heals with the dawn. Our gazes intertwined. We shall require some time. We shall embark on a journey of reconstruction." She nodded once more, tears streaming down her cheeks, yet there was a deeper emotion hidden within those sobs. A gentle comprehension. A gentle liberation. "Dearest mother, I wish for you to embrace a life filled with joy and warmth. Weary and solitary. I shall find a way to navigate through this. I shall seek employment. I shall not rely on you as I once did." And then she extended her hand towards me. She melted into my embrace, holding on to me as she once did in her childhood, when the terrors of nightmares or a scraped knee felt like the greatest calamities imaginable. "Dearest Mom, my heart is filled with love for you. I simply..." Fear enveloped me, rendering me unable to maintain my composure. I embraced her tenderly. Softly, I caressed her back and murmured, "It's perfectly all right to lose oneself every now and then. Yet, one must not devote their existence to relying on another as a support. Your understanding is profound." She leaned gently against my shoulder, a quiet presence, wrapped in stillness. I chose to remain silent thereafter. I allowed her tears to flow freely. With a gentle grace, I rose and made my way back to the kitchen. I gently retrieved the honey jar, placed the kettle upon the stove, and began to prepare her a soothing warm drink. Outside, the wind whispered, dancing through the skeletal branches with a haunting grace. Yet within, there blossomed once more a gentle flicker of warmth. A flame that had remained dormant for an eternity. Emily graced my home with her presence for 3 delightful days. Not yet returned to my abode, merely residing here for a while. That was her expression, and I chose not to contest it. She arrived with little in her possession. A modest crossbody bag, lightly filled, scarcely containing even a complete change of attire. I carefully arranged a fresh pair of pajamas and discovered a cherished scarf I had lovingly knitted for her long ago. The one she cherished in her youth. She later brushed it aside, declaring the hue unappealing, and tucked it away in a drawer. I have never parted with it. On that initial evening, her words were few. She dined in silence, her gaze tenderly anchored to her plate. She failed to utter a word about Lucas. Once dinner had concluded, I prepared a pot of tea, delicately adding an extra spoonful of honey to her cup. She nestled into the corner of the couch, cradling the mug as if it were the sole anchor to her being. "Mother," she whispered, "I am grateful for the chance to return." I gazed upon her visage, more delicate than I recalled, with soft shadows gracing her eyes. I inclined my head in agreement. "I am your mother, not merely your landlord," I expressed. "My dear, there is no need for you to tread lightly in my presence." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears as she lowered her gaze, delicately lifting her cup of tea to conceal her emotions. I remained silent thereafter. Not out of anger, but from the understanding that if I yielded too soon, she might revert to the one who only knew how to depend. And I had transformed into someone entirely new. The mother who would willingly shatter her own being to ensure her daughter remains upright. I now possess a life that is distinctly my own. In the wake of it all, I found myself embracing the opportunity to volunteer at the community center. Once a week, I had the pleasure of assisting Nina in guiding a sewing class. A circle of enthusiastic young women would assemble around me, inquiring about the art of stitching and the delicate process of breathing new life into cherished, worn fabrics. Their gaze upon me was filled with curiosity and a touch of reverence. It felt as though the gentle rays of sunlight were caressing my spine, bringing warmth and solace after a prolonged, harsh winter. It gently reminded me that I need not offer endlessly to validate my value. My worth does not hinge upon the role of a savior for another. Emily wandered through her days in search of employment, returning in the evenings, serene yet weary. She no longer pressed me for money as she once did, nor did she sift through my pantry, questioning, "Why do you never indulge in anything delightful, dear?" In that moment, she gently inquired, "Mom, are you feeling all right? Are you finding the time to indulge in restful moments?" Upon hearing that, it resonated within me far more than I had anticipated. On a moonlit evening, she returned home after the hour had grown late. She didn't even bother to remove her shoes. Gently, I settled by the door, releasing a soft, lingering sigh. "How did it unfold?" I inquired. She gently shook her head, a subtle gesture that spoke volumes. "I have dispatched 7 or 8 resumes. 2 places have responded, arranging interviews for me. Yet, they both remarked on the abundance of competition. I find myself in a moment of waiting." She paused for a moment, then softly confessed, "I've never sought a job on my own before. It has always been you, dear Ryan. I find myself uncertain about how to navigate any task." I refrained from offering her comfort. "At long last," I remarked. "You possess a youthful spirit. It is perfectly acceptable to begin anew." She inclined her head with a gentle grace. I endeavored to submit my application at a charming convenience store. The manager inquired about my experience as a cashier, and I found myself at a loss for words. I have always believed I was a devoted wife, a nurturing mother. Yet, in the absence of Ryan or your presence, I found myself utterly lost when it came to deciphering the register. She let out a laugh tinged with bitterness, yet it lingered, caught delicately in her throat. "Mother, I understand that you may disapprove of the life I once led. I wish to avoid returning to that as well." I offered her a delicate glass of water. "It is sufficient that you are aware now." She lifted the cup to her lips, yet her gaze flickered upward with a hint of trepidation. "Do you wish for me to leave?" Our eyes intertwined in a delicate moment. "It's not that I lack the desire for your presence," I replied with calm assurance. "However, it is essential that we express ourselves with clarity. This is not a sanctuary from the world beyond. And I shall not bear the weight of your life upon my shoulders once more." She cast her gaze downward. "I comprehend your sentiments. This time, I shall offer you only a modest amount of assistance. Yet, I shall not bid you farewell either. Feel free to linger here for a while. Just the right moment to pause, allowing you to gather your thoughts and contemplate your next step. Yet, what of the choices? They belong to you now." She gently bit her lip. "What of Lucas, I wonder? He is in the company of Ryan?" I inquired. She nodded, her voice softening to a whisper. "Ryan's mother graciously extended an invitation to care for him for a few days. Yet, I find it difficult to place my trust in her." I hesitated to respond immediately. The reality was, I sensed it would not be long before that dear child found their way back here. Ryan found himself overwhelmed, struggling to manage his own emotions, much less the spirited energy of a 6-year-old boy. "Concentrate on finding your balance," I spoke softly. "You are not the sole bearer of responsibility for that child. Yet, it is essential for you to be a person he can depend upon. A figure that rises with grace." She lingered in silence, allowing the moments to envelop her completely. Then she nodded, her agreement a whisper in the air. "Very well." I could perceive it now, not merely the regret but the transformation. A transformation that could not arise from mere entreaties or assurances. A transformation that was to be cherished, unfolding gracefully with each deliberate step. This time, I would not hastily dash in with an umbrella to shield her from the rain. I would remain close by. Yet, I would linger in anticipation to witness if she would discover the grace of standing in the rain. On a Wednesday morning, just before the sun graced the horizon, the doorbell chimed softly. As I fastened my apron, I gently opened the door. There stood Ryan, a hint of irritation gracing his features, as he cradled Lucas gently in his arms. He mentioned, with a certain detachment, that he has a fever. May you both discover the solution together. In a swift motion, he placed the child gently into my embrace before turning away, leaving me momentarily breathless. Lucas. I cast my gaze downward. His face bore a delicate flush of deep pink, his small nose tender and crimson, while his slender jacket clung to him like a whisper, with 2 frozen trails of mucus adorning the space beneath his nostrils. I welcomed him in and summoned Emily with a gentle call. The instant her gaze fell upon him, her whole being surrendered to a delightful tremor. Payson, she exclaimed, hurrying towards him. With a fervent urgency, she took him from my embrace, her delicate fingers hastily unfastening his garments, trembling with anticipation. What transpired? What has befallen you? She wept softly, tenderly caressing his face, her voice trembling with emotion. How could your father how could he? She was unable to complete her thoughts. Her words melted away, giving way to tears. I refrained from offering her solace. I have just strolled into the kitchen. Water, gently brought to a boil. I have discovered the fever patches. I retrieved the children's medicine that I always kept nearby, just in case the need arose. Lucas rested gently in her embrace, his eyes fluttering open with the slightest effort. Mother, he murmured softly. Chill has wrapped around me like a delicate veil. Emily wept softly, cradling him gently in her embrace. I am here, my love. I have arrived. Fear not. Mother is here. Once he had taken his medicine, once he was nestled comfortably beneath 2 blankets, the house embraced a serene silence once more. Emily reclined on the couch, tears glistening on her cheeks, her gaze lost in the distance as if she had traversed the sands of time, aging a decade in a single night. What is your delightful plan? I inquired. She remained quiet for an extended moment. I yearn for a sense of stability, she murmured softly. At this moment, my thoughts are drawn away from anything grand. My heart yearns to nurture and cherish Lucas. It shall be a challenge, I remarked, my gaze fixed upon her intently. During the day, you shall be engaged in your work, while the night will be devoted to his care. No one shall bear that burden on your behalf. Are you prepared for that moment? She inclined her head gracefully. Yet this time, a unique spark danced within her eyes. Do not be alarmed. Not a plea of desperation. Accountability. Text, please, linger here a little longer, I suggested softly. Yet, dear Lucas, he is your responsibility. I shall lend a hand during the day, yet I must clarify that I am not your full-time caregiver. I now embrace a life that is distinctly my own. With a moment's pause, she offered a gentle nod once more. I shall no longer regard you as my caretaker. It seemed almost like a jest, yet I understood the sincerity behind her words. Transformation unfolds gradually, like the gentle unfolding of a flower's petals. For years, she had leaned on another to be her safety net. To truly find her footing, she would need more than mere good intentions. That afternoon, she returned home from a job interview and gracefully sank into a chair, enveloped in silence. As I was preparing dinner, I caught the sound of her voice drifting from the living room, engaged in a phone conversation. Her voice ascends gracefully. I assure you, my intention is not to falter. This week, my finances simply did not allow for it. It is quite disheartening to see my account treated in such a manner. I find myself in need of funds to procure medicine for my beloved child. Greetings. The call was abruptly severed. She knelt gracefully beside the sofa, encircling her arms around her head, remaining in that tender embrace for what felt like an eternity. I remained silent. Not for lack of affection. Yet, this was the reality she now embraced. Hers to embrace, hers to mend. I found myself unable to continue saving her. I would not allow her to drag me under as she strives to keep her head above water. During dinner, her words were few and far between. I chose not to press her. Once we had cleared the table, she stood beside me, drying the dishes in a serene silence, lost in thought. Then, quite unexpectedly, she inquired. Mom, was I always this selfish? She lingered for a moment. Then added, did you wish to sever our connection for an extended period? I gazed upon her. It wasn't my intention to create a boundary, I remarked. I found it necessary to do so. She stood still, a plate delicately cradled in her hand. Love is not a reward you can claim by right. It does not occur by mere chance. It is a gift we bestow upon one another, woven with threads of respect. Beyond the confines. It transcends mere necessity. It is about the delicate dance of mutual understanding and the gentle exchange of desires. Her eyes shimmered once more. I gently dried my hands and moved a step closer. Emily, this is your opportunity to embrace a new beginning. One may stumble along the way. You shall find yourself in a gentle descent. Yet, one cannot continually rely on others to tidy the mess. One day, when you stand tall and proud, you will look back and feel a deep gratitude for the moments I chose not to indulge you endlessly. Thankful that I have finally ceased to pursue you at every turn. She gently bit her lip and then nodded, a soft smile gracing her features. Dearest mother, I am truly grateful for your unwavering embrace. I offered a delicate smile. I did not embrace your presence. I find myself rediscovering the essence of you. She laughed amidst her tears, and I found myself smiling in response. And in that exquisite moment, I felt it deeply. The distance that separates our souls. Once steeped in resentment, the silence and pain have gracefully transformed. Not forgotten. Yet gently refined. We shall not return to the way we once were. We were embarking on a beautiful journey together. A bond transformed, flourishing through shared growth rather than imbalance. Reciprocal admiration. I placed a bowl of warm soup before her and gently urged, please, enjoy. Tomorrow awaits you with another interview. One cannot engage in negotiations with an empty heart. She gently wiped her face, a soft smile lingering on her lips. Dearest mother, I shall. And in this moment, I found myself believing her. At last, the morning dawned when Lucas's fever finally broke. Sunlight gently caressed the curtains, spilling its warm embrace across his cheeks. He opened his eyes, blinked softly in my direction, and offered me a warm smile. Good morning, dear grandmother. He whispered, his voice lingering with a soft rasp. Yet his eyes remained clear and bright, as though nothing had transpired at all. I gently reached out and caressed his forehead. The warmth had faded away. Only a tender, delicate warmth lingered. At last, tranquility has graced us. In the kitchen, Emily was gracefully preparing congee. Her movements, though still tinged with a hint of clumsiness, had blossomed into something more graceful than they had been just days prior. With a graceful motion, she stirred the pot with one hand, while the other cradled her phone, softly reading the instructions as if sharing a secret with the universe. Allow the rice to luxuriate in water for 30 minutes. Refrain from adding the salt too soon. I savored my tea in the living room, allowing her soft murmurs to wash over me, choosing not to interrupt or correct her gentle musings. For true transformation, mere tearful apologies will not suffice. It unfolds in mornings such as these, each one flowing seamlessly into the next, when the world remains unaware. Shortly after Lucas's recovery, Emily found herself embracing a new opportunity in her career. The reception area of a pre-loved furniture boutique. Not extravagant, not exceptionally lucrative, yet consistently reliable. Her superior was a woman in her 50s, possessing a keen edge and a tranquil demeanor, yet exuding a sense of fairness. Emily confided in me that night, saying she evokes thoughts of you. Speaks very little. Yet, she accomplishes her tasks with grace. I simply inclined my head in agreement. As they dined, she lifted her gaze unexpectedly. Mother, she inquired, may I linger here a while longer? A gentle smile graced my lips. If you choose to remain, it would bring me great joy to have you by my side. She blinked, taken aback by the effortless grace of it all. Then she nodded, her eyes shimmering with a gentle sense of relief. After that moment, words seemed to escape us. Yet that meal, serene and unpretentious, seemed to embody a reunion more than any festive dinner we had ever experienced. The days that ensued cascaded gracefully, like a gentle stream. I continued my journey of imparting knowledge at the community center. I immersed myself in the pages of books, crafted delightful meals, and nurtured the blossoms of my balcony garden. At times, I would escort Lucas to the charming local library. Of late, he has found himself drawn to the allure of puzzles and the art of drawing. With each completed masterpiece, he would rush to me, his breathless excitement a testament to his pride. "Dearest Grandma, behold. I have captured your essence in a drawing." I would lovingly affix his charming little sketches of me to the fridge. They brought a smile to my face each and every time. Emily has ceased to express her apologies as frequently. Instead, she softly uttered her gratitude, "Thank you." And perhaps that is the true essence of what family ought to resonate like. Not a dance of guilt and forgiveness, but a tender exchange of mutual care. Shared existence. Two souls endeavoring to share a life of grace and dignity together. On a gentle afternoon, I received a call from a cherished old friend. She inquired whether I was contemplating a return to my beloved hometown. The neighbors mentioned they were planning a delightful gathering and expressed a desire for my presence. I hesitated for a moment before gracefully declining. I found myself reluctant to return to the place where I was merely recognized as the devoted mother. For I am no longer a woman defined solely by the role of mother to another. On that enchanting night, I found myself on the balcony, tending to my beloved plants with gentle care. My fingers were adorned with earth, the rich soil nestled beneath my nails. The breeze playfully danced around my collar, prompting me to draw my cardigan closer, seeking warmth and comfort. As I lifted my gaze, I found Emily poised in the kitchen doorway, her eyes fixed upon me with an enchanting curiosity. "Mother," she murmured softly, "should you ever wish to embark on a journey or explore new horizons, I would be delighted to accompany you." I gazed upon her, a smile gracing my lips. "Text, if I wish to venture forth," I declared, "I shall do so by my own accord." She inclined her head gracefully. I refrained from pressing forward. There was no dispute. He comprehended with a gentle grace. He embraced it. Not for the reason that my affection for her had diminished. Yet, it was in that moment of clarity that I grasped the essence of love in its purest form. To love someone is not to surrender oneself entirely. It signifies the desire to express, "I yearn for a life of my own as well." 2 months later, she confided in me that she would be leaving. I chose not to intervene as she made her decision. "May I inquire, are you truly certain this time? Have you truly contemplated it deeply?" She inclined her head gracefully. "Mother," she inquired, "do you recall the home where Ryan and I once resided?" I offered her a delicate smile. "Certainly." I relinquished my portion of it. "Allow Ryan to bear the weight of the mortgage alone. If he wishes to remain, then let him do so. I have taken a charming little apartment close to Lucas's school. From this moment forward, we shall call it home. Your presence is always a cherished invitation." I inclined my head in agreement. I did not inquire about the particulars. Indeed, I have made the payment for that house. Yet, that is a matter of the past now. Unearthing it would merely reopen wounds that had begun to heal at last. At times, the true reflection lies not in pursuing what is rightfully yours. Recognizing the true nature of the debt, understanding the essence of the debtor, and gracefully choosing to part ways forever. I escorted her and Lucas to the door. I beheld their figures fade gracefully from view as they turned the corner. I offered a gentle wave. And in that moment, not a single tear fell. Let there be no sorrow. I gently closed the door, then turned back toward the kitchen, where I prepared a delicate pot of tea for myself. The living room embraced a serene stillness. Not devoid, merely serene. For this moment, the silence was not a companion of solitude. It was a realm I had finally embraced as my own. In retrospect, the clarity of it all unfolds before me. This entire journey was never intended to be a grand escape marked by a dramatic farewell. It was a delicate endeavor, softly unraveling each intricate knot that life had woven around my being. Not tearing. Not in a state of fury. Simply letting go. Letting go of the reins. Letting go of the burden of guilt. Letting go of the instinct to please, to save, to relinquish my boundaries in the pursuit of being an exemplary mother. I desire a love that flows freely, unburdened by the weight of competition. And I shall not squander the remainder of my days exchanging tranquility for duty. I am aware that she will encounter challenges once more. Indeed, there may come a day when she returns, seeking assistance once more. If I am able to assist, I shall gladly do so. And if I cannot, I shall express my refusal with grace, free from any sense of guilt. For at last, I have come to a profound understanding. I am not a source of endless funds. Not a nurturing companion. Not merely a second chance at one's beck and call. I am simply myself. A woman who stands gracefully on her own 2 feet. And in this life that remains to me, the initial soul I embrace with love is my own.